Hey YouTube. Alright, so I have some time, hopefully baby's asleep, so I have some time to let you know my labor and delivery story. So I'm going to be looking over to the side because that's where I have my journal where I wrote down everything. Show it to you here. So anyways, yeah, so I was telling you I had already started my maternity leave disability because of all the pain that I was having. And then I had a couple days of contractions, and we finally decided to go ahead and get it going for real and get induced. So 5 a.m. September 11th, we headed into the hospital, and it's so weird going into the hospital, not really in a lot of pain and knowing you're going to come home with baby. So they hooked me up and everything at 5 and monitored me for a little bit. I was having contractions on my own, but they weren't real strong, and I didn't really know I was having contractions until they told me that I was and I could see them, because they weren't painful. But so they decided at that point to go ahead and start Pitocin to make the contractions stronger and more regular. So we did that. The Pitocin was started around 6 a.m. And I think every like 20 or 30 minutes they came in and turned the dose up until they got me into a pattern that I wanted to be in, or that, would help things progress. And then about 8 o'clock in the morning, Dr. Tammy Chan, my OB/GYN, came in, and she broke my water and checked me. When she got in there, I was 4 centimeters dilated and like 80% effaced. So she broke my water, and that's when things got painful, like for real painful. And it's the weirdest thing, because when people ask me like what a contraction feels like, I am totally amnestic to it. I cannot remember what it felt like for the life of me. I can't remember. I remember being in pain and knowing I wanted an epidural, and that it was hard to breathe through them, and everyone says it's like a tight feeling. Tight is not painful, so it is painful for sure, especially on Pitocin, but I could not tell you what they feel like. And I guess some women get amnesia to the pain, and that helps them have other babies, so I'm not complaining. Because if you don't remember the pain, you don't fear it as much, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. So they broke my water, and things got really intense really quickly. And about 10 o'clock in the morning, so my water was broke at 8, about 10 o'clock, I requested my epidural, because my friends have told me that you need to request it before you actually need it, because they have to do IV fluids, and that takes some time, and then to get the anesthesiologist there, that also takes time. And the day I had my son, there were 16 women in the hospital having babies, so definitely I knew I needed to ask for it before I really needed it. So I got my epidural. It took about 40 minutes to work, actually, once they gave it to me. And I'm like half my body, and then I was like, I'm still feeling pain. And so they told me to roll to my side, and then the medication kind of distributed itself better, and numbed me on both sides. So probably close to 11, I was feeling good, and I slept from like 11 until 3, and I woke up at 3 o'clock, and they checked me, and I was 9 centimeters dilated. And then about 3:30, I started getting the urge to push, and I called them in and said, I have the urge to push, and they checked me, and I was 9.5. So I couldn't push yet. And then once I was 10 centimeters, which was like, I don't know, 3:15, like really shortly after they checked me the first time, Dr. Chan said she wanted me to wait for a while, like, I wound up waiting for like an hour at 10 centimeters before I could push, because she wanted the contractions to push the baby down as far as he would go on his own before I started pushing, because with my tailbone being in the way and stuff like that, she knew I was going to have a hard time pushing him out, so that, you know, if I let my uterus do some of the work, maybe I would have enough energy to finish the job. So about 4 o'clock, I was finally at +2 station, and I got to start pushing, and I pushed from 4 until 5:37 when he was born. So I pushed for a while, and one of the reasons it took so long to push him out was because my contractions started becoming irregular when I was pushing. So, you know, there would be a 10-minute break where I didn't have any contraction and I couldn't push, because you want to push with your contractions. And then his heart rate started dropping when I did push. So they put me on oxygen, and they kept saying, you know, he was close enough that if I couldn't push him out, they could use a vacuum or forceps if they needed to. But, and if we hit the 2-hour mark, or if his heart rate didn't come back up, they were going to do that. So I was pretty close to that time period. So finally at 5:37, pushed him out, and it is so weird, the feeling when you deliver. It's like you feel your abdomen feels like so full when the baby's in there, and then you push him out, and like instantly it's like your organs go back into place, and you just feel so empty. Like, not psychologically, like physically empty. And I guess psychologically too, but that doesn't really hit you until later. And I did not have the cord clamped right away. I let it naturally clamp, because we weren't saving the cord blood. So because I have a blood disorder, there's a chance that the cord blood would have that in it, because my son could carry it too, and that's his blood. But if he is a carrier, the blood would be no good, and it costs a lot of money to save cord blood that probably isn't good. So, yeah, so they put him on my belly. They waited till the cord stopped pulsing, and then he got all the blood. You know, that would have been the cord blood. It went into his system, which helps him get more iron and stuff like that. Being my iron is low, they suspected that his maybe as well, like I said, if he carried my blood disorder. So, so I got to hold him for a while before they took him to the warmer, because he was still attached to me. And then once they clamped the cord, they took him and weighed him. He was 8 pounds 3 ounces and 20 inches long. And then I delivered the placenta, which I really don't remember that part of it all. And they gave the baby to me, and I nursed him for a whole entire hour. He just wanted to nurse for an hour. And also, they had to stitch me up and all of that stuff. Okay, so then after the delivery and everything, the hospital I went to, they have private rooms where the baby gets to stay with you, so we did that. I was in so much pain. The delivery itself was very traumatic on my body. My bladder didn't function for almost 36 hours afterwards. They had to keep a catheter in me, and I was in a lot of pain. And it's kind of embarrassing when all your family's coming to see you and you're stuck to the bed because you have a catheter in. So that was weird, and that's something I didn't know could happen, but it did.